It's September, and that means fall. And that means a lot of really cool things like Halloween and candy corn and football. But it also means back to school. And even if you don't go back to school anymore, chances are it conjures up some rough memories of when you did go back to school, either by seeing back to school specials or commercials or kids in your neighborhood once again. But it doesn't have to be that way. Back to school could be a lot better if we just did it with Star Wars. Hello Internet, and welcome to the very first episode of the Positively Nerdy Show. Now for this first episode, I've got something here I've been waiting to share with you guys for a very, very long time and didn't really have the format to do it. But now I have the show, and now that it's September, and now that we're going back to school, it's the perfect time to take a look at the Star Wars teacher kit from 1978. Now for you old timers, this is going to be a blast from the past. For you younger kids, you're not going to understand most of what's contained within this box, but I'm really, really excited about it, so let's take a look. Inside the box is all sorts of cool stuff. We're going to start with the most obscure, again for you youngsters. Anybody know what this is? It's film strip. That's right, it's a film strip. If I could just get it open. Ta-da! Let's take a closer look at this beauty. It comes with 2 cassette tapes. Now, ordinarily I would think I'd have to explain this, especially to you younger people, but thanks to Guardians of the Galaxy, everyone knows what these are again. Now these is really cool, there's 2 of them, because this one is the read-along with the book I'll show you in just a second, and this one goes with the film strip I just showed you. Now the first, one side is the audible signal for the manual advance, and the other one is the inaudible signal for an automatic advance. Now it depends on what kind of film strip you had, and I remember in my school you used to have like the kid that was like his job for the week was to press the button or turn the knob on the film strip thing, so it would go from one image to the next, because that's how old I am. It's pretty obvious, I don't know if you guys can see it, that these things have never ever been played. Now I just happen to have one tape deck left in the house. Now it's this thing, this is going to be the best we have to do. It might be a little bit crude, but what do you say we pop in the read-along and look through one of the read-along books?
Isolate grid 3-7 and magnify. Insufficient sensor data. Identify its source.
Here are the read-along books that I mentioned. There are 5 of them, because you probably would have gotten into a small group and done the read-along together and shared your love of Star Wars and Luke Skywalker. Now the art in this is a little bit juvenile, but and the dialogue boxes are literally boxes, but it's kind of a delight to see a movie that we know so well boiled down into these very, very simplistic pages and panels. And I love too that some of the bigger words, like vanished, has an asterisk next to it at the bottom, and it's disappeared into the air. Did you know that? That's what vanished means. Their spacecraft had been bugged. Asterisk. Fitted with a small beeper, which reveals to anyone listening where the ship is located. What else do we have? I have to share some more of these. The Death Star is heavily guarded. Guarded. In this case, by a laser screen and huge guns. There's an unguarded shaft that runs into the station's reactor system. The center where atomic fuel is burned to run a city, or a battle station. The target is only 2 meters, a little over 6 feet wide, a very small target for a plane to hit. This also comes with a really cool poster. Hopefully the teachers would have hung this up in their room. Obviously this kit never got used, so all the kids in Mr. and Mrs. whoever's class got deprived of this awesomeness hanging in their classroom. And eventually it would become time to apply what you learned. What you learned in the film strip, what you learned on the tape, what you learned by reading the books. We've already learned some things today, like what a reactor is, and what a ray shield is. This is the teacher guide and answer key. This is what every kid would have been trying to get their hands on, because it has all the answers for all the dittos. Now, I have no idea if kids still do dittos in class or not. I'm not going to pretend to know what elementary school kids spend their time doing these days, but we did a lot of dittos. Here are some regular copies of the dittos. We have R2-D2 crossword puzzles, word finds, matching locations in the film to what happened there. And then there's these guys. How old are you? Because you might know what this is depending on how old you are. These are mimeograph sheets. Basically, before schools had Xerox, or before anyone had Xerox, you would kind of run these through a drum, and it would leave the impression of the image on the piece of paper over and over and over again as you ran it. Now, I realize how archaic this sounds to some of you, and how many memories it might bring back for the rest. If you don't know what this is, and you're confused, and you're wondering if the same people who used these had to take their clothes down to the creek and beat them with a rock to wash them out, you might not be too far off. But if you want to kind of see one of these in action, I would recommend Animal House, or the episode of The Simpsons where Lisa gets and starts her own newspaper. They use mimeographs in both of those, so you can kind of get an idea of what I'm talking about. If you're thinking of Animal House, it's what D-Day and Bluto went digging in the trash for to get the answers off the psych test that turned out to be wrong because of the Omegas. Omega, how's it feel to be an independent, Schoenstein? How's it feel to be an asshole, Niedermeyer? So that's what these are. And it's delightful to have these things in here. I vaguely remember these things being used in early elementary school, so that's kind of going to be your bar. If you're older than me, you probably remember them. If you're younger than me, you might not remember them. So there you have it, viewers. Going back to school shouldn't be a chore. If only teachers today still were using this, everyone would just rush back to the classrooms and couldn't wait to work on these awesome mimeograph R2-D2 crossword puzzles and push the button to make the film strip advance one single frame. It'd be delightful. I kind of adore having this thing in my collection. It's really fun, unique, nostalgic, and definitely one of the most unique bits of Star Wars memorabilia I have. Now, if I had a fire raging and I only could save one Star Wars collectible, I don't think this would be it, but it's really, again, just obviously the most unique thing I have in my collection. I've actually debated sending it to Steve Sansweet, Rancho Obi-Wan out in California, the man with the biggest Star Wars collection in the world, because I wonder if even he has one of these. And as much as I like having it, I might like sending it and adding it to his collection even more. So now that that's in video, I kind of have to do it. And that brings us to the end of my very first episode of the Positively Nerdy Show. If you like what you saw, please consider hitting that subscribe button. You can also find me over on positivelynerdy.com and listen to the Positively Nerdy podcast, which is available on iTunes and Stitcher. And of course, you can find Positively Nerdy on Facebook as well as Twitter. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and until next time, celebrate your fandom.